Yay!
The vibes are good in here today.
The vibes are right.
All right, so this is the Soup and Salad podcast that somehow we got. I'm Max. This is my older sister, Julia.
I'm younger
Nah, well.
by almost 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't we tell the story of why we're doing this? And
well, first of all, where are we? We're in your apartment.
We're in my apartment. I love it here.
I know you do.
Which looks the greatest neighborhood of all time.
Yeah, you've been here for 12 years at this point.
That's true. All right, so
you worked at Vice in media. I then went to college, had no idea what to do. You had actually already left at that point, but I was friends with everyone who worked there.
Right.
And so they brought me on to do the Snapchat, which I can't believe,
Right.
I cannot believe Snapchat is now the highest paying social media platform. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, that's how all these apps get you. They start paying you and then they take it away. It's like TikTok. They give you all the views.
Yeah,
exactly. And then all of a sudden,
they're paying Bryce Hall $5 billion to be posting Snapchat stories.
It's unhinged. I was at Vox for a minute, and then I started a little media company with Kareem, who's going to be on this podcast later.
And you guys know Kareem Rahma from Subway Takes or Keep the Meter Running. Yeah. So you and Kareem had this media company that you had started. Right.
Which is kind of just raising a lot of money from venture capitalists and then losing it. That was kind of the whole theme of that company. So about a week ago, Julia hits me up and goes, "Hey, you want to do a podcast? I think it might happen." And now we're here, in my apartment with 3 cameras and lights and 4 people, and wow.
And the whole joke is that we're calling it Soup and Salad, which is just a beer and a shot at the bar that we go to every day.
How do we tie it in with food? Sort of.
Just by name, but
yeah,
essentially.
Also, this is some strong water, by the way.
Also, happy birthday.
Thanks.
How old are you?
35.
Damn.
40 in 5 years. 50 in 15.
Oh my God. If you round up from 35, you're 40, essentially.
That's true. I like it.
Yeah. You've lived many lives, so.
Finally worked my way up to a podcast.
On your 35th birthday. Yeah. This is my birthday present to you.
Yeah, thanks.
Also, I just realized something. This is you're Howard Stern and I'm Beat.
No, you beat Beetlejuice? God, can we throw up a picture of Beetlejuice, whoever's editing this? I was going to say Robin.
I know, I was going to say that too, but Beat's funnier.
Beat's my hero. God, that's only going to hit for a handful of people. But when it does,
for the Howard fans out there.
I know.
Okay, so yeah, now that we have this thing, what are we going to talk about?
We need some ideas. I'm shooting so Kareem's coming on because he's my friend, but I'm thinking chefs in the neighborhood, but then I'm thinking Action Bronson would be cool to have on, Eddie Wong. Sick. Or who's the biggest, who do we shoot for? Mr. Beast?
Mr. Beast, oh my God.
Talk about the burger thing. Yeah.
Please, Mr. Beast, come on our podcast.
Please, Mr. Beast.
He has 200 million subscribers. How many on YouTube?
200 million, yeah.
It's insane.
We just worship Mr. Beast here on this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. We cut every 5 seconds. Wait, also, did you see they opened a Wegmans in the city and the line was people were tailgating it yesterday?
I don't know what the Wegmans hype is. I've never been there.
It's good, but it's it's just because we're in New York and there's no easy food source.
New York is so hype based.
It's so hype
and
based.
And TikTok's ruining it. And we're probably ruining it too by doing this podcast.
We're fulfilling that prophecy right now.
What's the most overrated restaurant? Bernie's. We were just talking about it.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to get canceled for that before anything else. Dude.
True. Overrated restaurants in New York.
Bernie's is good, but people are waiting in line around the block. Bernie's is
a
spot.
It's not that good, guys. It's mozzarella sticks and the vinegar chicken is really good, but you don't need to wait an hour in line.
No,
that's
it's
insane.
Dumb. Or people who wait for pizza. What's that famous pizza place that's in Park Slope or South Brooklyn?
Oh, Lucali.
Right. Okay. Probably great. But people are waiting for 2 or 3 hours to get a slice of pizza.
And then I had friends the other day who said they went to Lucali. You get a ticket or whatever. You put your name down. It's a 3-hour wait. They went, ate a meal, and then came back. I'm there's nothing in New York I would wait more than an hour for.
No,
or
unless Beyonce's there, because in that case.
Unless Beyonce's there.
I'm waiting.
True.
What's the most overhyped?
The other problem with New York is just in general, any new restaurant that opens that people say is good, instantly ruined by TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone knows that, but it's like you literally can't even go there. Like you have to wake up. Sorry. You have to wake up at like
Sus.
the crack of dawn, like 5 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, 30 days in advance to like get a reservation at any new restaurant that's like hyped. It's so
I know,
stupid.
it's dumb.
It defeats the purpose.
What about food? Overrated, underrated? I've been thinking about smash burgers lately.
Oh, I thought you were saying food in general, overrated or underrated.
Food, not so great.
I was about to be like, definitely not overrated. What about food? Overrated, underrated? I know.
We were talking about burgers the other day, and I was like, smash burgers were the thing forever. And I feel like it's a hot take to say overrated.
Now it's overrated. I'm leaning
Thick
back.
boys are coming back, dude.
Thick burgers.
Thick burgers.
Also, fish and chips. Overrated, underrated. I have this theory.
So I've been talking about fish and chips for months, saying it's like the trendiest food ever. I'm like, for how long? It's not. I mean, dude,
it's
the best thing England has to offer, dude.
It's been around for like a million years.
Fish and chips.
I really feel like it's on the come up in New York. I'm gonna keep saying this until
you just want
like
that thick piece of cod on your plate, dude. Why? What's so good about it?
And mushy peas.
No,
Any what? It's good. First
you
of all,
want like
it's
a piece of
fried.
toast with beans on it too?
I would like that. I love beans.
I'm gonna quit this podcast, dude. This is what we're working with.
Okay.
We need
Also,
some new talent.
I'm gonna cancel the podcast if you kick me off.
Oh yeah, shit. You're my boss technically.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Wait, have you seen? Okay, again, this is probably boring, but on TikTok, there's like all these people making a Sunday roast. It's like a British thing.
No, dude, you're on British TikTok. I think that's what's going on here.
Fuck.
I don't know.
So they make like
Oh my god.
Yorkshire puddings. Have you ever had one of those?
No.
Me
That's
neither,
where you
but I really want
It's
one.
that bread thing in the oven.
It's like you heat oil in the oven and then you pour batter into it,
Right.
and then when it comes out, it's like puffed up.
That does look pretty good.
Doesn't it? That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I want to make one.
British people got good Indian food too. But that's
It's the
India.
Indian people in the UK.
That's true.
Yeah, but I never make it because I'm too hungover on Sundays usually.
That's true.
So, okay, this is gonna be a random segue, but what are you gonna do for your birthday tonight or today?
This is the birthday plan right here.
Speaking of which, I have a present.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Pop it off.
Close your eyes and
That'd
put
be
your hands
good.
out.
No! I honestly had a feeling that this literally might happen.
I was scared you were gonna have a reverse ice.
There's only one thing you can do now. Alright.
Is that not a twist?
Don't worry about all that, dude.
It definitely is, isn't it?
Well-
So wait, do we have to hide the label or anything? Okay, so what just happened?
Sponsored by Smirnoff Ice. I got ice.
I
This
just
happens
iced
for
you.
birthdays
This is
and just
something,
every day.
but we used to do this like in high school.
You know, we did.
Wait, that's
Even
like
before this.
we're not alcoholics, kind of.
I almost like yesterday. I was gonna take an ice from 101 and have it in the couch and ice myself.
I
I was
wanna-
gonna be like, let's do
no
a
way.
gimmick. Yeah.
I 100%.
And here, nah.
I 100% thought you were gonna reverse ice me
I wish I did.
because you're usually good about that. But so, for those who aren't acquainted, although I'm sure most of you are, if
I'll
you
just do it.
if
can
you
explain
present
it.
someone with a Smirnoff Ice, then they have to drink it. Usually, you
Supposed
have
get
to.
one knee.
You're supposed to hide it so that they find it, but
Here we
I
are.
wanted to keep it on cam, and you have to drink it all at once on a knee. Bitch.
Fuck you, dude.
Hold on, I gotta get this. Max. Woo! Good job.
Fucking hate this podcast already.
Also, by the way, if this was not being filmed, you would not have finished that. I know it.
True. I was trying to show off. Trying to be
So
cool.
fake.
I actually rented this apartment. I don't even live here.
Wait.
I live under the bridge.
So today, we had some issues getting the equipment out of our office, and so it set us back like 30 minutes. And Max texted me and was like, Wait, are they gonna show up? He thought this whole thing was an elaborate prank.
I really thought I was getting fucking got, dude. I thought I was getting roasted hard.
And we've had like brought him into the office, had pre-production meetings. This would be an insane, hilarious, elaborate prank.
I know.
How's that ice sitting?
Yeah. Honestly, I like
You-
ice.
One time we were
It tastes pretty
walking
good.
down the street and we needed some like road beers for whatever. I think it was during COVID
Yeah.
because we couldn't go to the bars, so we like were doing a
Walk
lot.
around the park and drink.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
I know. So we're doing a lot of sidewalk drinking.
Yeah.
And I asked Max, you were going into the bodega, and I was like, oh, just surprise me. Like, whatever you're going to get. He brings out Smirnoff ices to just sip on casually.
Yeah, they're not bad.
That was the most perverted thing you've ever done in my
If we
life.
can get any sponsor, Smirnoff Ice is the one
I was
to
just gonna
sponsor us.
Who would be your dream sponsor?
Anza Tequila.
Anza
the
is
wild
the
tequila.
cheapest, shittiest tequila that you'll get. It's like well tequila in Bushwick. Ew.
That's the best.
But I probably drank you probably drank hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Anza.
No. God, this whole podcast can't
Thousands.
be about drinking.
know,
It's
you're
going to be
right.
so bad.
So true. Okay, so yeah. So soup and salad is a shot, so a soup and salad is a Bud Heavy specifically, and a shot of, it could be tequila.
Tequila or whiskey.
Some people do whiskey, yeah.
Well, you know why it's called this soup and salad?
Yeah, so this is actually an interesting debate.
So it's because of, we were having the classic debate, is cereal soup,
Exactly.
in the bar one day.
And it is.
I believe it is too.
Okay, so we're on the same page.
Thank God we don't have that conversation again. Wasted years of my life having that debate. But anyway, and then Sean Jones, the bartender, was like, so beer's soup then? And I was like, might as well be, dude.
Yeah.
So-
Because what makes soup soup?
I don't know. Then he's like, you want a side salad with that? And that was the shot.
Right.
This is soup and salad.
So now if you go to this specific bar in Brooklyn, you can say, can I have a soup and salad? And
Yeah.
they'll give you a shot and a beer.
Well, no. Yeah.
And it's also like, this is what I don't understand. If I get a beer like in Bushwick or around, it's like $5. If I get a beer in Manhattan, it's like $12 effing dollars.
Yeah, it's unhinged. Or if you
I
get a
can't drink
shot, they
that.
pour it in like a rocks
Yeah.
glass half the time.
like that.
That's not liquor. But yeah, I, mean, I don't know. The whole shot and beer thing is very. They do it around in a lot of cities, but it definitely feels like a Brooklyn thing a little bit.
That's
like,
true, because I feel like if you get one like in LA or something, they're like, you're gonna take a shot right,
Right.
now? Are you insane?
It's fucking Here we go. We got an impromptu segment.
Should we do a hot take about like like this is totally random, we could do this, but like apple picking, if that's like worth it or not?
What are we talking about? Apple picking?
I mean, are people apple picking this time of year?
I don't give a shit.
Wait, I went apple picking this year. And it was
Yeah,
really
I had the call for it.
Wait.
It was good.
Lauren, one of our producers, took a bite of my apple and said, "Oh my god, this is the best thing I've tasted in months."
Oh my God. How much Adderall was it? Fucking Lord on.
That's what I said.
Really?
Yeah.
Apples are good.
Hot take, apples are good.
What's your favorite apple?
Oh. Okay, I feel like most people say Honeycrisp. I like Fuji.
Extremely sus.
What are you going to say?
Honeycrisp! It
See?
is the best
I
one!
knew it.
Because it tastes like candy. It's delicious. Although it makes my throat itchy. I think I'm allergic to apples a little bit, but fuck it, they're so good.
I know.
Yeah, same with avocados. I don't know. Sometimes
Wait,
just get
really?
old. Yeah.
I'm like that way with kiwi.
Yeah. You have the skin on? Kiwi?
No.
Kiwi? 100%
No.
skin on.
That fuzzy shit all up in my mouth?
Eat the whole thing.
Actually, Food 52 does have an article about how, it's a genius article about how kiwis are good with their skin on.
I wrote it.
You did. Okay.
All right, so where are we at? Oh, yeah. Our
So
producer, Lauren, said, hot take, vegetables are good. And we said, well, yeah.
True.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, next hot take.
The
What else
thing
do we
is,
have on the list?
people need to stop turning vegetables into like other things and just eat them as
Right.
they are, but
Well,
like prepare them in a
For
good way.
Spencer, our brother, like going out to restaurants with him, he for the past like ever since he started being a vegetarian, which is like 15 years ago, he's always like, people are like, well, look at this. Like, they point out vegetarian things on the menu, and he hates that.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's like,
Right.
But like nowadays, it seems like much more commonplace to have like a lot of veggie shit, which is nice.
I agree. I feel like
the vegetables are good. People are realizing.
I know.
Vegetables are good.
Vegetables are good. Turns
Hot
out.
take. Yeah.
I know. I feel like because now menus will be like 75% like vegetarian and like 15%.
Well,
you don't think?
50-50.
And I feel like in New York, there's a lot of restaurants that lean.
That's true.
Yeah.
What else we got on the list, Lauren? You got some good ones in there? Oh,
What does
okay.
that mean?
Oh, tin fish. What do you mean?
Tin fish.
You
I thought you
love
said
tin fish.
I do love tin fish.
Dude, okay. Here's my take on tin fish. Like, what's yours?
My take is
Obsessed.
I want to be obsessed. Every time I taste it,
And
I'm
they're
like,
like, okay.
oh. Like, I know.
You've been telling me to come over to have tin fish,
know.
so you're lying the whole time. I knew
Some
it,
of it
dude.
is better than others.
I'm like, it's not that good. You're like, it is. And I'm like, dude, okay.
Some of it is. I do like the tinned mussels, which you need to try because
Tin
you
mussels
like
just
mussels.
seem so crazy.
But
I know it's not, but
first of all, tin fish is like the most sustainable protein on the planet.
okay.
Okay. Also, it looks
Crickets?
okay.
More
I don't know
sustainable.
about maybe crickets are,
Definitely.
but tin fish looks nice, cute on a cheese board.
That's all it is. See, I'm done with cutesy. You know how many charcuterie boards I've seen with a rose salami?
I know.
Dude, I'm like, what are you doing with that wine glass that's all greasy now?
I know.
Like, it's disgusting. Dude.
And like your
You know-
fingers were all over every single piece of
I
salami.
know. I want you manhandling my salami until later.
Also, the problem with cheese boards is it never all gets eaten.
I know.
And you can't really save cheese and meat like that after it's been put out.
I know.
It's been out for 3 hours, like it's all greasy
Who need to get
now.
their food handler's license out here before they make those rose salamis?
Yeah, I know.
Whatever the fuck.
It's true. Wait, how do we get here? Oh, tinned fish.
Yeah, gross. Well, not gross.
Overrated, underrated.
I think they're overrated, but that doesn't mean that they're bad. I do like tinned fish.
Like what?
Tuna.
Oh my god. And you don't even
Can
really
of tuna, dude. Bumblebee tuna. That's my favorite tinned fish.
Bumblebee?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
In
you
oil
also,
or in water?
You're a freak because you don't put mayo with your tuna.
I'm not a big mayo
So
guy.
dry. That must be the driest food.
Olive oil.
That's true, actually. That would be good. Okay, you sold me.
All right. Next. What we got?
That's our hot takes for the day. More to come on that. I think this pod will probably like change week to week, but I'm excited to talk about like what's happening in food media.
Bro, this is just gonna be us laughing 90% of the time. All right.
I hope someone out there finds this interesting.
Oh, I pray someone finds this.
I just hope my CEO finds this interesting looking at you.
What's the
because
CEO's name?
Alex Bellows.
Alex Bellows. Please.
Let us continue. Because this is fun for us, if anything. Give
I
us
know.
also, could use a few more bucks to keep the pod going. So,
Yeah.
starting the fundraising portion of this podcast. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Smirnoff Ice. We have a couple $1 million. We need those drone shots. We need those crane shots.
We're going to get a dolly in here.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, so we're going to go have a soup and salad and talk to Kareem now.
Yeah, let's go hang out with Kareem.
All right,
Okay.
bye.
Like, it's kind of far not to be
Yeah.
No, bro. Not again.
That's the second time today.
This is bullshit, dude. I'm allergic to cats and dogs. Sucks.
Excited and scared at the same time.
Okay.
Aw.
Yeah.
Very cool cat.
We're here with the world famous Kareem Rahma. He's got some
Use
shows
that
on the
one.
internet.
You gotta use that one.
The Subway Takes, Keep the Meter Running, and my friend Kareem. We're gonna do a podcast about the Pizza Museum and some other fun stuff we've done.
The untold history of the Pizza Museum.
The untold history.
Of the world's greatest event.
And if you're wondering where we are, what all this craziness is behind us, we're at our local dive bar / watering hole that we come to pretty much every day. And this is a soup and salad, as you can see.
Wait, what is a soup and salad?
A soup and salad is, we talked about this, a soup and salad is a Bud Heavy and then either a shot of tequila or whiskey.
It has to be a Bud Heavy?
Has to be a Bud Heavy. In
Wow,
my eyes.
I didn't know that.
Do you think
Legally
so?
speaking.
Legally speaking, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought it could be any beer and shot.
Oh wow.
Depends
Depending
who
on
you
what city
ask.
you're in.
Yeah.
Depends on what city you're in.
Yeah.
What about Manhattan?
Depends what bar you're at.
Manhattan doesn't have it.
Manhattan,
It's
yeah,
only Bushwick, actually.
doesn't exist there. Kareem.
Goody. Do you know
What
when we
up?
say it like that?
Why?
When we had that office. Do you remember the landlord?
Oh, that guy.
The landlord
He
would come
loved
in every
me.
day and go, Kareem. He'd be like, you're not paying rent. Or whatever it was.
That guy loved me.
Yeah, you guys
He
were
hated
fun.
everyone else, but
I
he
think
loved
he
me.
just wanted to hang out with you, honestly.
Yeah, he did.
He was cool.
so so Kareem and Max have been friends for a long time. Where'd you guys meet?
Well, we started working together at Vice back in the day. And then we started a company together that raised and spent a lot of money. How would you describe it?
What? Which part? The
nameless.
raising and spending?
The whole thing. Like,
It was a series of pivots. It was a series of
Right.
pivots that never actually worked out, but we lived. I
I
mean,
mean,
we
yeah.
tried for a long time.
You got paid.
Well-
That's all that matters.
We got paid.
you always said be the cockroach
Be the cockroach.
and
Never
just
die.
survive forever.
Never die.
And so you were like, let's just keep going. Kareem wanted to start this company when we left Vice, and like, I feel like, why did you guys even bring me into the fold?
I don't know, because I think you didn't want to work at your job.
I didn't. I hated it.
I didn't want to work at my job.
That's kind of
You
what
were, at the,
yeah.
you were at the New York Times.
I was at
right?
the Times, but
We
I
were
was sick
also
of it.
all pretty young. We were like 25.
27.
20
Some
you were
of us.
27.
Some of us were
Yeah.
27.
You were 25.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And,
and
you're like,
also,
Jonas, quit your job.
everyone was getting rich,
I know. We were like,
and
gotta
we were
figure it
not.
out.
We were not getting rich at all. We were
Right.
getting the opposite of rich. We were getting more poor.
I know.
And so it made sense to
Yeah.
try to start a company.
And then we started a company that got
Literal-
even more poor.
Starting a company is like buying a lotto ticket.
I know,
like
dude.
you will 99% of the time
Yeah.
you're not gonna win the
Well,
lottery.
we didn't work for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, we were broke forever. And, like, we eventually raised some money. And then we had, like, a moment where we were chilling. But now
because
we're
it did
back-
well.
It did well. Let's just get into it because it's a long story. And this is the way I remember it. And tell me if you think it's different. We were basically not doing very much. And you had this idea.
No, I was doing much.
Well, I was chilling.
I was doing much, but I felt extremely bored.
Right.
And then there was no like you couldn't go anywhere else.
Yes.
It was like we're doing this.
Yeah.
Like what is the next thing?
Well, so we worked really hard at Aimless, and like we got to a place where we were making money, and then there was like a couple months where we were kind of sitting in the office, like okay, like what's next? But we didn't really know. And then I remember you coming to me and being like, okay, like there's the Museum of Ice Cream, which is like this thing that's like this Instagram moment like thing where they sell tickets to. And you're like, we're in New York. Like, why don't we do pizza? Like, Museum of Pizza. It's like the best. And I was like, I mean, at this point, you had already led me in the right direction. So I was like, fuck it, whatever Kareem wants to do. I'm in. You
Blind
know?
leading the blind.
Right. I know. But I was like,
But
well,
it was a good idea.
I know. Well,
It
yeah,
is a good idea.
It worked.
It worked.
Okay, so
Kind of.
No, it worked.
It worked.
How
It
did
worked.
it not
We
work?
sold
There's-
tickets, we
There's
made money.
literally no world where
it
it
could
didn't
have
work.
been better at the end of the day. I give it like a C++, maybe a B minus.
I give it a hard C.
Yeah.
I give it a hard C.
Yeah.
But so like, do you remember like coming up with the concept and like talking about it for the first time?
I think there was a couple moments. I remember one time, Bryn will say this as well, Bryn
Yeah.
Mooser, as I was like in his car in LA, and I think we were on mushrooms, and I was like, I think I want to do a Museum of Pizza. That's like where it initially came to me.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, I think I came back to New York and I was like, okay, like all of these things are making a ton of money. This girl is being called like the next Disney.
Yeah.
Like the woman that is the CEO of Museum of Ice Cream was like called the next Walt
It's
Disney.
still open now.
That's
I know.
insane.
I wonder
Yeah.
if it's still making money.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Because like
Yeah.
you don't see it like the
It's-
problem is like with Instagram is no one posts like
Right.
Right.
those photos anymore.
It's got to be like on trend.
It's the only reason to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Is to post those photos.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like I got into a room with Chris and
Chris Bowman.
yeah.
Okay.
And we
Who's
just like whiteboarded it. It was like a guy that we hired as like a
Consultant.
as like a
kinda?
COO
Right.
consultant. We were
Okay.
looking
He was
for a
just good at
COO.
spreadsheets, and we thought
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
cool.
We were looking for a COO
Okay.
to help us get to this next level because we were like, what is the company has to keep growing
Right.
and we don't know what to do next. And he was like, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those things where it's like, okay, $30 a ticket, blah, 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 blah. Oh yeah, you get a free slice of pizza.
Right.
Big mistake.
Dude.
XYZ,
at
XYZ,
that.
XYZ.
Yeah.
It was not well thought out.
Yeah.
But it was it was like, it makes sense.
Well, that's the whole theme of this. Like, it was like, here's an idea, let's go with it. And it kind of like, I mean, that even when it comes down to when you were doing interviews talking about it, and we'll get into this later, but you're like I had to find a contractor to build a cheese cave because in a Wall Street Journal interview, they're like, what's going to be in it? And you're like, a cheese cave. And I was like, wait, what did he say? Like,
That's what it was. It was a series of reactions.
yes.
It's a lot of
It was a series
cart
of
before the
reactions to
horse.
things.
But
Yeah.
that's how things
that
work,
world.
I feel like. You know what I mean? Like,
Build a plane while you fly it.
build a plane when you fly
Our
it is
producer sitting right there says that a few times a week.
There we go.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. That's the
Yeah.
way
I
to do
agree.
everything.
All
So
right,
you talked to Chris, and he said, "Yeah, do it."
He said, yeah, do it. And then I came back to the team, the Nameless team, and I was like, hey, we're doing this thing now. And everyone was like, okay, cool. And we were like, why don't we just see if there's, I think we were all into this thing called prototyping. Do you
is
remember that? At least I was in
Sounds a little.
I
Son.
was into prototyping.
Prototyping?
Instead of
Frito?
instead of
All right.
prototyping, you prototype to see if
Yeah,
there's
sounds
even
like something else too.
see if there's even demand, to see if people are even interested.
Right.
So we're like, okay, let's just put up a landing page. Like,
Right.
let's do a photo
Yeah.
shoot. It's cheap. It's like $1,000. We'll do a photo shoot. We'll make a brand. And
Yeah.
we'll put up a landing page and see if people like it. And
Right.
we'll like try to get some press. And yeah, that's
Right.
where on the description it was like what you'll get. And it's
Yeah.
like we're literally like, oh, we should add a free slice of pizza for everyone
Right.
that comes.
Yeah.
Not thinking
Just making it up.
about
Yeah.
the fact that we will
Yeah.
have to deliver a slice of
Right.
pizza to every person
Right.
that comes. And that's like, oh yeah, what else is in it? Pizza Beach,
Yeah.
Pizza Cave,
Right.
Just random things.
Yeah.
words,
Yeah.
words
Right.
with pizza in front of
Yeah.
it.
Which also was
Beach,
just
pizza cake.
me making a Squarespace and Eventbrite that's selling tickets.
It was like pizza movies.
And the ad that we filmed was with our friends from Vice, and it was just people we found on Craigslist. Do you remember that
Those
whole thing?
we did a casting call.
We did casting. They came into our sketchy office, which is basically an apartment that we built desks in.
Those desks were hard though.
I bet
Those
they're
are
still
good
there.
desks.
It's a tattoo shop.
That
now,
was
place.
solid desks.
Yeah, they're good.
I miss those things.
But so like we had all these random people in casting that were like, "You look good for this pizza museum ad." Like we have any idea what we're even talking
Oh, we had
about.
no idea what we were talking about.
And then yeah, we made it work.
And then the video went viral.
right, the video went viral.
And the landing page went viral. And then the press was like, there's a museum of pizza coming to
Yeah.
New York. And then all of a sudden, I think like within the first 72 hours, we sold like 15,000 tickets.
yeah, it was crazy.
And it was like,
Like day one.
I don't
Yeah.
remember how much money that is.
And how when this video went
I think it was
viral,
like 150K.
how
Yeah.
far out was the date you put on the?
I think we had 6 months.
6 months. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's not-
Intentionally,
It
because
was-
we had nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this is illegal, but I can talk about it now.
Yeah.
But I think you can't technically, I don't know if it's illegal actually, but like we used the money from the tickets
To build
to
it.
build the museum.
Interesting.
Right.
I think normally you're supposed to keep that money in the bank
Yeah.
and use other funds to build it in case force majeure, aka like a hurricane
Right.
comes and you have to
Right,
like, and
So you can give the money back or
Yes.
give
Yeah.
refunds.
so we were like, and I didn't know this at the time. So I was like, oh, we'll just use the money that we make from
Yeah.
ticket sales to build the thing.
Yeah.
And so like the first 24 hours or 72 hours, whatever, it was like 150K. So we were like, okay, cool. We can start. Like,
Right.
let's start talking to artists. Let's start to blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And then as time went on, it like kept getting more and more out of hand.
Yeah.
So by the end of it, I think there was $1 million in like corporate sponsorships and
Yeah.
ticket sales.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's fast forward. All that money was spent
Yeah.
on the event.
We spent almost all of it.
We
Yeah.
spent all of it.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, the bigger it got, the more
Right.
like crazy we were like getting with this
Right.
thing, and
Right.
the more costs, and it was just like,
Another drop in the bucket.
and then another,
Another drop
in
in the bucket. That was
Another-
the motto of that.
that was
whole-
my phrase the whole time. I was like, "Crew, can we buy this like projector?" He's like, "How much is it?" I'll be like, $5,000. It's like another drop in the bucket.
Everything was for some reason was $3,000.
So
Everything
we
was
had no more money.
$3,000.
Yeah.
$3,000. That was what it was.
That's
yeah.
how much everything costs,
$3,000.
Everything. Dude, I mean,
except
okay.
for the pizza cave was $30,000.
So you had to find.
Pizza Cave was expensive.
You had the funding and you were getting sponsors. Which, by the way, how did you get like DiGiorno into
Cold
Totino's?
emailing, baby.
Literally going on
That is
LinkedIn and being
insane.
like,
Yeah.
"Who's the head of DiGiorno?"
Yeah, and we
then
would make decks that were like so
Right.
terrible with like bad
They're
mods.
pretty good.
I mean, because I made them.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a good
We would
deck
like
maker.
pitch ideas to the brands.
Yeah,
And again, they all said yes because it was such a good deal.
Yeah.
And you had already sold tickets,
Yeah.
so they knew that people were going to be
But
there.
in my mind, it was like, oh shit, we're getting $50,000,
Right.
which is not a
Right.
lot of money
Yeah.
for a
Right.
corporate sponsorship.
Yeah.
So they were,
Right.
so they were all like, okay.
It seemed like a lot to us
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we're getting $100,000 checks for like.
Yeah, but it's like in real life, that should have been like
I know,
400
a
or
lot more,
500K.
yeah.
We weren't making money
But
on the
you
margins.
they didn't know what your business was. Like you weren't in a well-known business that like can ask for $500,000 for a brand.
None of us knew what we
partnership.
were doing, to be honest. But they knew the ice cream museum was like
Right.
successful, and I think a lot of people based it on that.
Right.
And the hype was real. I mean, there was
yeah.
a lot of great press.
But let's run it back to like starting this thing because, all right, so we had the idea, we started brainstorming, like it started to become real when everyone bought the tickets, right? So like, then we're like, okay, we needed a space, and that was a nightmare.
That was hard.
in and
This
of
is
itself.
a whole other story.
Well, New York City landlords, especially
Right.
the commercial ones, are all pieces
Right.
of shit, and that's a blanket statement.
Right.
If you're a New York City landlord, fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can swear on this podcast. Can we?
You can.
Go for it.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. Well, New York City landlords,
Yeah.
fuck you.
So-
Yeah.
But we
No, they-
found a space.
we had to go to like 50 of them, and every
know.
time we went to one, they'd be like, "Yeah, it's almost like." We'd get there, I'd be like, "Is it done?"
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Yeah, it's done." And we'd get there,
They're
and
lying.
it had no ceilings.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
no,
ceiling.
literally, and
You
no
were
air
basically
conditioning.
going to like warehouses because you needed a huge space.
But we were trying to do this
No,
in
but
Manhattan,
even these
though. So,
commercial,
like,
even
yeah.
these,
Yeah.
like, they're just the buildings aren't done.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, is it going to be done? They're like, yeah, we'll rush it. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
You're like, can
dude,
you?
I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
No,
Like it
contractors
doesn't
don't
have
work that
fucking
Yeah, you
ceilings or
can't
walls
trust construction
or
like that.
electricity.
Yeah.
And so it was nearly impossible to find. Like we wanted a 10,000 square foot space.
Yeah.
And it was nearly impossible to find an empty one. And this is before COVID, so like the city was lit. It
Right.
was like it was fucking full.
Yeah.
But then we found one that was
Right.
in the perfect location on Broadway, close to NYU,
Yes.
middle of Manhattan, and it was the one. It was
Yeah.
multi-story,
Yeah.
which is also was important because we were like, oh, we want to make it feel like a real museum, like
Yeah.
where you can explore it and like go upstairs, downstairs, like. And we didn't have to do that much work because there were already walls.
Right.
There were. But we had an architect go in. Like, we had a blueprints mapped out in that first space.
Right.
And it was the address that we put on the tickets.
Right.
So people thought that they were going to
What
go
was
to
it?
Manhattan.
990 Broadway or something?
Something like that. Yeah. It was like by NYU.
Or 90
But-
Broadway? I don't remember.
Right. So, like, all these people bought tickets to a location in the city. So, like, I think there's tourists.
Oh.
Like, people who are coming to visit New York
Right.
are, think they're going to this thing in the city.
Oh, boy, that's a big problem.
Right.
Yeah, and we put it on the website because we
Right.
signed a lease.
Yes.
We signed we got the keys.
And
Yeah.
how far out were you at that point? How
I think we had 2 months to go, which
Okay.
is still a
Mm-hmm.
long lead time
right.
to like build an installation.
Right.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got the keys, we started going in, and then all of a sudden,
Well, you saw in the New York Times that they're doing a Velvet Underground.
well, no, first landlord started getting shady.
Yeah, he was.
And we'd be like, hey, we need to enter the space. And
Yeah.
he'd be like, oh, you can't. Like, we have like blah, blah, blah coming in
Right.
today. And we're like, we need to enter the space. He'd be like, I told you guys you can't come in today. Like, he started getting real
Yeah.
weird after he took the money from us.
Oh.
He took the money, he gave us the keys.
And how much did you have to pay him?
I think we gave him 10 grand as a
Yeah,
deposit.
just to like, yeah.
Okay.
I think I don't remember actually. I think we gave him 10 grand as a deposit, and the total lease was going to be like
Right.
60 or 70K.
Well, we had like a contract.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
And it was like all good. And then he started like demanding like all these things. Like, you
Yeah.
need this permit, you need this permit, this permit.
he was
like,
trying to make it hard for us to
making
get
it
in there.
very
Right.
difficult.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And we're like,
'Cause
dude,
he had
we're
another
gonna
deal
provide
on
you
the
all this stuff.
Yeah.
We had like an event producer that had done this before, and she's
Right.
like, this is weird. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
all of these things are weird. And then flash forward, PR agency that we'd hired, like I think a month before the event, like we're about to start building.
Yeah.
Like the artists are coming, everything
Yeah.
is scheduled. People are showing up to like build their installations in the Pizza Beach and the Pizza
Yeah.
Gate.
We
And
hired
then-
all these people. Like,
No, I
like we
know.
hired like legit. This is one thing I'll give credit to about the museum is like the ice cream museum was kind of just like random installations. We hired real New York artists.
Yeah.
Like who were like not well known, and we gave them a shot. We gave them like basically an unlimited budget to do like a room in there.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I
Like
think.
Adam Green, who's still my friend now
Yeah.
of the Moldy Peaches. I was like, hey, have you ever wanted to, like, he makes these amazing paper mache
Yeah.
Yeah.
installations. And I was like, hey, how much would it cost to build a Pizza Beach?
Yeah.
Right.
And he was like, 30 grand.
We're like, here you go.
And we're like, great.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
whatever you want. You have this size of this entire room.
Right.
But I would mean to sidetrack though. Keep.
Yeah.
So
But then, so our PR agency hit me up one day and she's like, hey, isn't this the same address as your event? And I like open the link, and it's like the Velvet Underground Experience coming to 990 Broadway.
Same date.
Same dates.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
So
what?
like, yo, yeah.
And so I hit up the landlord, and he's like, I don't remember what happened exactly, but he was kind of like,
He's
yeah.
dodgy, you know.
No,
yeah.
I think he was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
He was just like, I can't have your events
Right.
anymore.
But,
I think he
so-
literally
Oh
was like,
my
we're
God.
not having
Right.
your event anymore.
But so we sued him. Can we say that? Okay.
I don't think we should talk about it.
All right, maybe we don't.
We
talk
did
about
sue
this.
him, and we did win.
Well,
Yeah.
didn't
he disappeared.
He disappeared.
you won?
He
Oh,
just-
right.
I don't know where he
Didn't
is.
you see him on the street one time?
I did see him on the street one time.
And
Pulled
how'd that
up.
go?
I pulled up with the blicky.
No, you
I
didn't.
pulled up
Not the
with the blicky.
blicky.
The city blicky. The city blicky. AKA city bike.
Oh, city bike.
Yeah. I was talking about a real blicky, but I don't have one. But no, I did run into him, and I was like, fuck you. Like, you fucking stole our money, and
Yeah.
you stole our building, you piece of shit. And he's like,
Yeah.
fuck you. And we got into a yelling match
Yeah.
on the street. And I was
Yeah.
like, you're
Yeah.
so fucking done. I'm going
Right.
to sue the fuck out of you. He's like, I'm going to sue the fuck out of you. I was like, I'm going to sue the fuck out of you. I was like, you'll never work in this town again. Classic, like, New York
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I was like, you'll never fucking work in
That's
this
like
town
all the
again.
Western shit.
Uh,
He's never working this
and,
town again.
and then we did sue him, and we did win.
Yeah.
I think we can say it. I think it's in the public domain.
Right, but
Yeah.
then we can't find him, so we have no way to collect the money.
He's in
So, like, you
Montana.
can get a private investigator. We're like,
He's in Montana.
is he?
How do you know that? Did you get a PI?
Fought with the blicky.
You did?
Oh,
Are you
I
going
didn't
to hunt
know
him
that.
down?
I don't know how to get the
How
money.
much does
The
he owe
United
you?
States system is very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like impossible to get the money. But
Right.
if you go on like I
Yeah.
forgot what the website, like some sort of USA federal website, like
Right.
it says he owes us money.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But that was like a month out.
right. So we lost the location. So now we have tickets to this event that like thousands of people think they're going
Literally
to.
30,000 people.
Right.
That's
And we have
insane.
no space.
And we have 5 corporate sponsors
Yeah. This
Right.
is also the
who
same
have
time as
also
like Fire Fest.
given us the money.
And you've already
Yeah,
spent
yeah.
the money, right?
And we've been spending
Some of
the
it.
money.
Yeah.
Well, we're spending it on like contractors and like people that we thought were gonna build this for us, which all ended up like disappearing in the end. Like, do you remember all the meetings that we had with people? Like, we would have meetings with people who were like, "We'll do the whole thing, no big deal, whatever," for like this big check, and then they
Oh.
just would. It ended up being us at the end, really, and a couple.
Yeah, no, because eventually we were like, oh,
Allie and Leanne, though, we got a
were
shot
like,
them
we
out.
have 1 month.
Yeah.
Right.
We were like, we have to hire a production
Yeah.
company.
But we also didn't have a space. Still.
And but we had to hire the production company who was going to help us find a
Right.
space.
Right.
Because we were like, okay,
Right.
this is like we have to do this event.
Yeah.
So we hired a production company, and then they rolled with us for like a week, and then they were
They
like,
promised us like they could do the whole thing.
Oh my God.
and then they were like, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
And then we were like, fuck. So we had to find another production
Yeah.
company, and then they just did an awful job. They were
Yeah.
like, well, we promised to find you a space. They didn't find us a space, so then we had to fire them.
Right. So now
And then they
you're
didn't
like,
give us our deposit back.
that's messed up. But so now you're like 2 weeks out, and how did
Literally
you end
2
up
weeks.
getting the space?
Dude, I was laying down in Domino Park alone, being like, I'm done. I was like, I'm so done.
This
'cause-
is Fire Fest
this is-
time
it
too,
was
so we
Fire
knew the
Fest time.
failure of
Yeah.
like a big event.
and I was laying there being like, the Prince of Pizza steals the money from
Yeah.
all these Brooklyn
At this
residents.
point, there's articles like in the Wall Street Journal. There's like big press about
and
that.
Oh
everyone's
my God.
excited. They're like, this is gonna be
Yeah, yeah.
amazing. And I know that if you get all this positive press, you're gonna get equal or more
Exactly.
negative press.
It's coming
Right.
back.
And I'm laying there being like, I've had such a good reputation in New York City. Like, so many people trust me. And if I fuck this up, like, the minute you Google my name,
Yeah.
it's like I'm responsible. I mean, I'm
Kareem, the
responsible. I was the
pizza
failure.
spokesperson. Yeah,
Yeah.
the fucking
I didn't
pizza,
do any press. I was too
Yeah.
scared to be like,
the pizza thief
Yeah.
of Brooklyn.
The pizza thief.
And I'm laying there like, I can't let this happen. And I like remembered that there was a space that I didn't love at the William Vale.
yeah.
And we had seen it and it was available, but I was like, it's in Brooklyn. I really want this thing to be in Manhattan because at least it was like in Manhattan still.
For tourists, it's a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
you
Right.
don't want to do something in Brooklyn if they expect to
and
be in
like
the city.
location change, it's in Brooklyn is
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
But at that point, there was nothing else we could do. And I remember just being like, I'm just going to go check it out. It's like, yeah, like 2 weeks away.
Right.
And we still haven't canceled it, which again, be the cockroach.
Exactly.
Right.
Do
Just
not
keep
die,
going.
bro. Do
Yeah.
not die. You're not dead until you're dead.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not dead, you're
Yeah.
still alive. So I literally walk over to the Williamville Hotel. I'm like, who rents this place out? I see like a Hasidic guy.
You're like going
And
up to
I'm
the
like,
concierge.
No, I literally saw
Excuse me.
a Hasidic guy walk out of the building. I knew it was Hasidic owned. I go, hey, do you like own this place? And he's like, no, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to have a big event here. He's like, oh,
He knew the guy
talk
who
to this
did
guy. And I go, oh, okay. And he's like, talk to this guy, Jonah. I'm like, all right, I'll talk to this guy, Jonah.
Jonah, that's right.
Jonah, my boy.
He was the best.
Who
yeah.
also did look like Jonah Hill.
Right. But you had to hook him up.
And I don't know. He's like, talk to my boy Jonah. So I go to Jonah. I literally go, hey, I want to hold an event here for 6 weeks. If you let me do it, I'll give you $100,000.
$100,000? I feel like it was.
I remember it being
Jesus.
100,000.
Dude, hell yeah. I forgot.
Well, at that point,
that
it was
much.
at that point, that original deal with the original building was like 50K or 60K,
Yeah.
and now it was
For the whole deal.
yeah, for the whole 6 weeks.
Because you had to give him like $1,000 just to sign the contract that day.
Well, it wasn't a grand.
A little more than that.
Maybe
That's
it
what
was
you
a
told
grand.
me.
Wait, so you just gave him like a wad of cash that day?
Well,
Well, no,
this
he
was
was
a Friday.
It was a Friday, and I was like, I need you
Yeah.
to sign today.
Because we only
But-
had 9 days before it was going to happen.
Was it only 9 days?
9, yeah.
Oh my god.
And so like, and we needed that weekend because we had like drywall to bring in. And shit.
People
like,
were ready to go.
I know. We had like construction
I
workers
think
on
I was
hold.
like, I need this contract. I was like, $100,000. I know that's a lot of money,
Right,
and it's
right.
my final
That's the
offer.
contract for the whole
And I was
space.
like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
need it
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
I need the contract signed today. And then it was like 4 p.m. and he was like, hey, can we wait till
It's
Monday?
Friday,
I was like,
yeah.
Because
I was like, dude.
right.
'cause he was
Pacific
like a-
people also don't like the landlords don't really work on Saturdays.
Right.
So you have to
Yeah.
get it. Yeah.
And I was like, no. I was like, we're either doing this today or not. And he like didn't respond to my text. And I go, if you sign it, I'll come to your house right now. I thought it was $5,000, but maybe it was 1,000. But I was like, I'll come to your house right now with
Yeah.
$5,000 cash.
Because I remember you came back to the office after talking to the guy, and you're like, I think we might get this place. And you're like, I gotta go. I gotta give this guy a bunch of money. And I was like, let's run it.
just go to the bank and then go to his house.
I went to the bank, pulled out $5,000, and then I drove to his house.
Yeah.
And I went to his apartment, and I go, and then he goes,
Keys.
No
We had the
way.
keys that day. So
Keys
I
and
was
a
like,
contract.
that day.
My God.
Called everybody, all
by
the
any
artists.
means necessary, bro. By
Yeah.
any means necessary, I
Yeah.
had to get that fucking contract
Yeah.
signed. And then it was off to the races.
That was the last option, really.
Wow.
And then we had to Chris.
Wait, also, just so like people know, the William Vale is like a big fancy hotel
It's a luxury hotel.
in Williamsburg,
Yeah.
which is like an expensive neighborhood. It's not just like in the middle of nowhere. That was always surprising to me. I was like, I can't believe they just gave you the keys to this like.
Well, I gave him
Money.
$100,000.
I know, but it's not like he like looked into your background. Like you could have just been a random.
We had a cool website.
Dude, if you got
Yeah,
if you got
cool
cash.
website.
We had a cool website, and we had
my
press.
Squarespace that I made in 10 minutes.
We had a cool website and press. That's all
That's
we
Yeah.
true.
needed.
Press is a big
Act
deal.
as if.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it was off to the races. I remember this guy Chris, God bless him. He was like our main contractor.
Yeah.
Right.
He like
Dude, the
recruited.
best.
He recruited like
He was the guy like carrying in like sheet.
we were
What's
all
this construction
doing
company called? We
it.
should
I
shout them
forgot.
out.
I don't even know if they still exist.
They do,
And
dude.
Allie
They helped me build another
LaSalle,
one.
Right.
Ali
our
LaSalle
fucking
and
legend.
yeah.
Literally never abandoned us.
Yeah.
Never went away.
She stuck with us. There's only a few people that stayed around till the very end. It was like us and her.
But then we built the
Chris,
whole
sorta.
museum. So let's set the stage.
Let's set the stage.
Set the stage. So
We've
you have
been-
the space now.
We've been bruised and beat up.
Oh my God.
We've been at our
We're in the dumps.
wits' end. We're down in the
Well,
dumps.
no, but now your
We're in the
adrenaline
doldrums.
is pumping again because you have the space.
No, we're watching the
Adrenaline-
Firefest documentary thinking that's us.
Adrenaline was pumping.
It
Yeah.
was.
You
But
guys were on more Adderall than anyone I've ever met in my entire life.
I was on 90 milligrams.
Yeah. Well, we took Alex's entire prescription and ate the whole thing.
Not sleeping.
And we fed it a lot to that lighting guy who was insane.
That guy
All right,
was
well, we'll
so
get to that
scary.
later.
But then it's like, yeah, it's
Okay,
like
so you have space, yeah.
we get the keys. It's like go time.
Yeah. It's
Everyone
a
moves in.
big
All the
empty
artists.
space.
Everyone moves in. Chris, the contractor, is like getting. Also, in the first space that we got, we didn't need to build walls.
Right.
So all of a sudden, we have a space that
Right.
has no walls.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Literally
we had
just
to build
massive
hundreds
empty
of
space.
feet of walls.
Well, so they drop off a truck of like pallet truck of drywall, and we're like, they're like, you got to put that in there. And I was like, how are we gonna do that? So I came in here and asked Jordan and all the bartenders. I was like, we'll give you guys like, you know, a few $100 if you just help us carry this drywall. Do you remember that? Like,
yeah, we're carrying drywall
yeah.
off this huge truck into the museum.
Yeah.
Because
Insane.
Chris is like, we need to build.
He didn't have enough people to.
He was
do
like,
it.
we can't
Right.
build and move drywall.
Right.
Right.
So we're moving and wood, just wood.
wood.
Plywood.
Just we basically built a mansion inside of a warehouse.
It was huge. It was probably like 5,000. No, it was more. It was like
Dude.
10,000 square
Yes.
feet of walls.
It was
Right.
huge. Yeah.
Also, let's not forget that we had promised everyone a free slice of pizza, and
Oh
that
my
plan
God.
was still not figured out.
Right.
We were still like, that was like still like, how
There
are we
was
gonna
a
get the
moment
pizza?
I remember, like, so at this point we had rented a WeWork where we could just sit there and think about this. pizza museum.
Because that's what you needed to do, rent a WeWork.
Well, we needed like an office close by, and then we started just renting rooms at the hotel across the street so we could like be there all night.
We were there for
We were also living above it for a little bit. But
18 hours a day.
You guys
Right.
literally had a mattress on like the 7th floor that was
we
completely
did.
empty.
But so there was a while there where I remember like the moment where we had a big whiteboard, and we're like, all right, there's this many people coming. It's like thousands of people. How are we going to give them a slice of pizza? How are we going to give every person a slice of pizza? And Chris is in there, like, doing math on a whiteboard, and I'm looking at it like...
This was your idea was the one, right?
The one?
The one that worked.
What
Oh,
was
yeah.
it?
Well, just rent cars and deliver...
Oh, yeah.
No, we were like, how are we going to build a pizza restaurant
Right.
in this pizza museum?
Right,
How are
we
we going
can't
to
do
make
that.
pizzas?
Right.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have to get food permits.
Right.
If people
Yeah,
are
yeah.
touching food, blah, blah, blah.
We couldn't do that.
I think it was your idea. You were like, what if we just rented cars
Yeah.
and hired guys to go pick up
Exactly.
Right.
pizzas from a
Yeah.
pizza shop, bring them to the museum, put them in an oven to reheat them,
Yeah.
and then serve those.
Right.
And
That's
we
what
were
we-
like, sounds like the best fucking
The only
move.
option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's no,
Yeah.
and then we had to call pizza shops, and they're like, oh, that many pizzas in that many days?
It's like,
Can't
no
do
way.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, how many pizzas do you need a day? It was like 200.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, 200 pizzas a day? Can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Ended up being,
and then Williamsburg Pizza was like,
yeah.
oh, we have 3 locations. We'll have them all
Yeah.
just going full fucking speed.
So we had
Amazing.
guys
Shout
just
out Williamsburg
driving
Pizza.
cars all the time.
Also,
Yeah.
Pick 'em up.
Craigslist. Like the
Craigslist
Craigslist ad was
guys.
like, do you have a driver's license? Also, the car.
Yeah, the cars.
Hertz. Just
Hertz.
rented
Yeah,
cars.
rental cars.
I have no idea if those were insured. I don't know anything.
Dude.
We had,
Well,
is
Sasha did our
insane.
insurance, our intern. She never had a job before.
we had like, I think we had 4 drivers.
Like the 22-year-old
Or
intern
8.
was doing the
We're
insurance.
like, Sasha, that insurance worked out yet? She's like, I probably. We're like,
I remember at the museum, one of the drivers came up to me. He was like wearing gloves. He was like, "This is the greatest job I've ever had." He was like, "This is the best job I've ever
Why
had."
was he wearing gloves?
Because he was driving gloves.
driving gloves. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he was also
Yeah.
like, everyone was like cranking, and he was like
Yeah.
driving to Williamsburg
Yeah.
Pizza, picking up 15 boxes of pizza,
Yeah.
driving
Yeah.
back. That was his whole job.
Yeah.
And I think he felt like he was in like a movie,
Oh,
which
that's
the whole
amazing.
thing was a movie. It
was.
a big failure movie.
Also, turns out like people don't eat that much pizza. We were just giving like whole pizzas out to people.
We're giving away
We're
slices.
like, what's good? Remember when the fire department came and like we were all nervous about the inspections, so like we just handed them like 10 pizzas and then
I
they
don't
just
remember
walked out,
that.
like you're good.
I must
It was
have.
because like
I must have stepped out.
there's so much happening. We had hired after we got burned out. Remember we hired those like ravers to run it. Do you remember that guy with the ponytail? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh my god.
I forgot. And his
forgot
like
about that guy.
sister or cousin or something.
Where did that guy come from?
I've never seen him since or before.
Who is he?
I don't know. He's a vampire.
Allie was like, I need someone to help me run the day-to-day operations and be like the daytime manager.
He showed up and
Yeah.
ran it.
And we were like, okay. And then this guy, I don't even remember his name.
I don't remember his name either. I owe
Okay,
that guy.
back
That. We
up.
owe that guy. Okay, let's go back.
Wait. We would be like, hey, we're getting lunch today. We're gonna get like
He's like, I got
sandwiches.
it.
He's like, we want sandwiches, and he'd be like, me and my team only eat juice, like juice press. They were like, me and my team
We
need
also
salads
hired
and
an entire
smoothies.
staff of people.
He did. He hired all his raver friends. The whole thing was being run by ravers.
That's where that laser's from, actually, in the
Eat
corner
juice
there.
press.
It's from the pizza museum.
He refused to eat food because he was like, I'll get sick. He was sick. That guy was sick.
He was. He's like, I
In
need
a
money.
good
We're like,
way?
what for? He's like, staplers and printers. We're like, what?
I don't know where that guy came
He
from.
like built an office in the like warehouse room in the middle of William Bell.
it was,
that
like,
we weren't
fully
supposed to-
organized.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
He was sick.
He was sick. He
Um,
really
Okay,
helped us out.
Hold on, we gotta get. There's a lot to cover.
So pre it opening, we're
So you're
building
building the
walls.
walls.
We'll
Yeah.
build, and the artists are in
Right.
there. Everyone's installing. Everyone's like, hey, another
Yeah.
drop in the bucket. Like
We're also
somebody.
having
You're
our
literally-
friends. Like Julia was there painting. Like
Yeah,
painting the
all of
walls.
our friends. We had a
Drywall.
painting night. Like
Teets.
Yeah,
Teets,
painting.
Jeremiah. Like everyone was painting.
all our friends were in there.
It was a
helping.
group effort. It
You're
was
literally
awesome.
living in the building above.
We're living in the building
Yeah.
above.
I don't even think the William Bell
I'm
knows
not
that.
eating
We'll put pictures.
at all.
I'll send you guys pictures for this for the podcast.
I didn't
too,
eat.
'cause-
No,
Dude,
you guys
we were
weren't
eating Adderall.
I was going up to you asking for your credit card for beers, I think.
And I just go here, drop in
Yeah.
the bucket.
Yeah,
It was
chop
a
in the
team
bucket.
effort.
At that point, there was the budget didn't matter.
Yeah.
I was
It's like,
like,
we
I
have to
don't
make it
care.
work.
I was like, don't care if we lose money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This does not need to be a profitable thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this just needs to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we're building. One of the best stories is like it's halfway done, and our PR person Marcella was like, "Hey, the Today Show wants to come by tomorrow morning," and I was like, "It's not done."
I know you're
And
good.
she's like, "It's the fucking Today Show. You better say yes."
Right.
I was like,
And it was the whole team of them. Like
was like-
Carson Daly, everyone.
I was like, "No, we're not doing it." I was like, "It's not done." And then she calls me. She goes, listen to me, fucking pussy. I don't care if it's done. It's the Today Show. It's the biggest placement in America. Blah, 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 blah. And I go, okay, fine. And I call Allie and I go, hey, change the plan. Today Show is coming. She goes, what? Yeah. She's like, what the fuck? You can't, like, they're not done. I was like, I don't know. And then Chris is like, no. He's the head contractor. He's like, no Today Show. We need, I was like, they'll only be there for 4 hours. He goes, we need the 4 hours.
Yeah.
That guy was sleeping in his car.
That's right. He was sleeping in his car outside the museum every night.
How did you guys find such a dedicated contractor?
Dude, those guys had her back, dude. Like,
and they got bags though.
Yeah.
They were in that Museum of Pizza building those walls.
An annual salary in one day.
Dude,
he had a nail gun in there just like, doom, doom.
Oh, yeah. They were putting all their...
Well, he had that big diesel dude.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, who tried to fight?
The other bar that we
He tried to fight the lighting guy.
The lighting guy. They almost got in a fight.
Oh, we'll get to that later. The lighting guy was tweaking.
He was.
On like...
Well, because we gave him like unlimited
amphetamines.
We're like, fix the lights. He's like, all right.
He was on amphetamines. And then this big contractor, he was so nice to everyone. Just like literally huge. He was a bodybuilder. And just like shirtless, like...
Yeah.
And then he's like,
we gotta go back. We're getting too crazy.
Oh, okay. Back to the Today Show.
So the Today Show's coming.
Yeah.
So they come. And I essentially told everyone what Marcella said, which is like, fuck off, the Today Show's coming, which is awful. And then they come, and it's not done. And they bring their fucking kids, and it's a construction site. Like, hazard.
Right.
Like, do not enter.
Like, the people on the Today Show brought their own kids.
Like, Carson Daly's children were in
Like, they were thinking that they were going to the ice cream museum, basically.
Yeah.
And I told them, I was like, it's not done. I'm sure the producer didn't tell if they're blah, blah, blah. And then they come, and, like, people are still working in there, and they're kind of like... They're like, wait, you're opening in 48 hours? And they're like, yeah. And they're like,
oh, yikes.
They're
wait,
like,
so this was done. 2 days before?
Something, 2 or 3 days before. But
God.
it was like,
we did this thing in 9 days.
Far from complete.
Right.
Yeah.
So from the time you got in there and started building the walls, you were 9 days out, basically.
But so the Today Show, do you remember what happened when they were talking to you?
So, like, I'm doing an interview with them and, like, showing them around. And we had, like, some little pizza kids, like, spinning shit. And, like, and then you tell this part. Because I was in the middle of an interview.
Well, so the one wall was smoking. Do you remember this? So,
I looked up and I saw it.
And then you looked at me and I was
there
like...
There was literal fire.
I was like, oh, my God. Is this whole thing on fire? So I'm like, what the hell's going on? I run over. We have this, like, crazy lighting guy who's done all the lighting for this place.
The meth kid.
Right, the meth kid. We're just feeding him Adderall. He's like running around. And I look like on a ladder, I'm looking down at this light and I'm like, is the light heating up and burning like the drywall? It wasn't that. It was a whole bunch of bees had swarmed onto the light.
A hornet's nest.
A hornet's nest. It started like catching on fire. The bees were catching on fire. So all these bees smoking.
So I'm doing an interview with
like,
Carson. I'm doing an interview with Carson Daly and Jenna Bush. Max is literally like, there's a fire happening. And it's not the walls, it's a fucking bee's nest.
Also, the whole power went out during that interview at one point.
What?
We ended up flipping that back on.
Wait, Kareem, when you were doing this interview, were they like... Could you tell that they were like, oh, this place is like not done? Was it like a weird vibe?
Yeah.
It was sus. It was sketchy.
Oh
I was like trying to convince them and they were like, oh yeah, for sure. I mean, to their credit, they did give it a great, they did it. They like published it the day of and they were like, they made it fun.
I mean, they have to have a segment. So like, what are they going to do?
One of the women was trying to get home and like her phone wasn't working. So I bought her Uber. I was like, maybe that'll get us a little.
God.
I was like,
you're trying to do anything.
I was like, maybe she'll hate it.
I was just worried.
Hey,
I was
like your shoes today.
I mean, these kids were walking around. There was chainsaws like sitting out, and I was like, if Carson Daly's kids dies, Carson's Daly's kids dies because we're in this fucking hellhole.
And the bees are on fire.
And I'm tweaking. I look at the interview. You can find it. It's up somewhere.
I'm gonna find that.
I'm tweaking out.
Oh, it's online. Yeah.
I'm like this.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, I made the Pizza Museum because my mom, Ninja Turtles, I was born in Egypt. Like, it made no sense. The interview made no sense.
What's worse?
They were like, why'd you start it? And I was
thing.
like, well, when I was a kid, I loved pizza. And then I was growing up in Egypt, and Ninja Turtles was my favorite movie. And then I went to a cave in Lebanon, and I was like, oh, wow, this looks like a cheese cave. Oh, man, we should put a cheese cave in the Pizza Museum. And then, now we're here. Like, it's really crazy.
You guys are better at press
look
than
cool,
I
though.
You guys trying to put me on to like one press thing, and like this interview, this woman like reporter talked to me, and she's like, so like, what was the hardest part? And I was like, I don't know. I couldn't even say anything.
Whenever Max does,
I'm not good.
Back then, Max was not comfortable on camera or speaking to people,
better now.
and he would, somebody would ask him a question, and he'd just go,
like, not me, dude. Please.
he'd just go,
Yeah.
ice cream pizza. Bagels are, I love, pizza museum because New York's favorite food.
Oh my
Such
God.
a roast.
Yeah,
It's
just
true.
like, it is a roast.
It's not even a lie, though. It's
Yeah.
so real.
If we did this
Now.
10 years ago, Max would literally be like,
our Kickstarter video that we did for the startup,
we had to do 7,000 takes because every time
I
Max
couldn't
was like,
remember one line.
hey,
It was like, give us money.
he would be like
I couldn't
this.
figure it out.
My name is Max Nelson, and I'm raising money to also start NYC TV with Kareem and Alex because this generation deserves good content.
How do you
Oh
still
my
remember that? That's
God.
pretty accurate to what it was.
It was so good.
Okay. All right, let's go back to the whole thing. So, where we
So
at?
now we're like 95%
Right.
done.
No,
it's like-
God, we didn't even talk about the pre-parties that we did at the
my
new
God.
museum
And in the museum.
and in the
Oh my God, the new
museum.
museum.
We had a friends and family night.
Oh my God.
Let's
All
skip
right,
those
all right.
parts.
Let's
Not
skip
that
that. Let's
interesting.
skip that.
But I remember the day before it was done, like clients were flying to New York.
Yeah.
Right.
And it wasn't done still.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
the day of opening, it wasn't done.
Right.
And so like DiGiorno's like, hey, we'd love to come swing by and look at our thing. And I'm like,
We're
fuck.
like, you don't have to do all that.
No,
Yeah.
I'm like, we're not done. Like Totino's is like, yeah, we want to come look at our installation. I'm like,
Hold on, let's talk about Pete Zarol for a second.
that was sick. Pizza rolls, like, I don't remember how much they gave.
So
They gave us money to build a massive pizza
Pizza
roll.
roll.
We made a
sculpture.
deck that
Right.
was probably 4 slides. It was like
Totino's.
pizza museum, pizza, and like a picture of a pizza roll that you could put your head in.
Right.
And
Pizza
we're like,
Heaven.
what do you think about
It
this?
was called
100
Pizza
grand?
Heaven.
Pizza
Yeah,
Heaven.
Pizza Heaven.
Stupidest thing in the
Pizza
world.
Beach, Pizza Heaven,
Pizza Cave.
They liked
Pizza
it though.
Cave.
They did. And it
Yeah.
was actually fucking
It was
It was
cool.
cool.
It ended up being cool.
Yeah. Well, all those contractors, all those people bailed, and I ended up finding half of them just hanging out at this bar. Remember, like I was
true.
calling people like,
They're
"Hey,
like-
can you build a DiGiorno room that has like a tunnel in it and a seesaw?" They're like,
Oh my
"All
god, the
right."
tunnel.
The tunnel.
Literally from Amazon, just printed the word
Just
DiGiorno on it.
a tunnel with DiGiorno. I know. God.
That
So-
was so.
so
I'm
all the sponsors-
This is giving PTSD.
I know, truly.
You listen. You made it work in the end.
So the sponsors are like, we want to come look at our installations. It's the day of opening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't. No, it's the day of the press night, the big press
Yeah.
night. We invited 150 press people.
Right.
Right.
Which is the night before.
We had a
Now,
PR
why
team bring
were
us
you
a place.
doing this when it was in the state that it was?
Gotta let it rip. You know what I'm saying?
You guys were still like
Let it rip.
the pre-parties, the
We didn't need to
press.
do any of that.
Yeah, but we were like, we were thinking like, how are we gonna make all the money back? Like, so we're like, we gotta sell more tickets. Like,
Oh,
because we
right.
extended it longer than it was
2
supposed
more
to be.
weeks.
Yeah.
Those 2 weeks were sad.
That saved us.
There was no one there.
I know, except for those people we found on Craigslist. that
And the
were-
ravers.
Yeah.
And then,
God.
so it's the day of the press night. Clients are in town. I'm sleeping at the hotel. Max is sleeping upstairs. Like, we're all like,
Yeah.
and it's not done. And Chris is like, it's not done. And I'm like, we need a cleaning crew in here now. This place is fucking dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we haven't cleaned it.
Yeah.
It's a construction zone
It's
still.
a construction.
Right.
And eventually, I like sent an email to everyone. I'm like, it was supposed to be at 4. I was like, we need 3 more hours.
Yeah.
And then there's a cleaning crew in there cleaning everything,
Oh my god.
wiping. Like there's like 20 cleaning people in there.
I remember that shit.
And the press is lining up at the front door. No joke.
Yeah.
And the cleaning people are still in there. And out the back door, Chris and his team are taking out like buzz saws and like hammers. And the cleaning people are in there, and the press is at the door, and it's like, this is
A
it.
nightmare.
And then we open the doors, and the press was like, okay, cool. Like
whatever.
they're like, all right,
Yeah.
Like, thank God.
we buy it.
Wait,
Right.
do you remember the internet situation? We had, so the whole point was that you could post about it on Instagram, and there was no internet in there.
Oh
So
my
we,
god.
We had Verizon come and install this like shitty like Wi-Fi thing, and they were like, "You got to come back," and they put in like a real network. They had, the like servers back there, just so people could post on
Really?
Instagram.
There were
Yes.
so many things that I didn't
We
even
had
know
a guy
about.
who's like, "Oh, I didn't realize this many people were coming."
So you must have handled that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can't deal
That
with
was in
this.
like the locker room that we made for the staff. I don't know what.
That was crazy.
Yeah. We had lockers back there for everyone to change their clothes
Where did
into
those
the.
come from? Where did half
But
of
we
this
made all those jumpsuits for everyone to wear.
But where did the lockers come from?
We bought them on Amazon, like everything else. We had Amazon packages coming like round the clock.
Task rabbits?
Task rabbits.
Chris
dude.
was like, I need help. I'm like, Task rabbit. Like, I remember the guy that was that painted the clouds for Pizza Roll.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
He was so sick.
He was good.
He was
dude.
a task rabbit?
Yeah.
He's just a random task rabbit
Yeah.
that's like good at like painting.
That's
Right.
insane.
Okay, so let's talk about the lighting guy. So this is another thing. Like,
That
so
guy,
the,
I remember his
he
name.
was a nightmare.
Carl.
Carl. Is that it? Okay, so the lighting was like not that great for photos. So we're
It
like,
was theater lighting. It was like a
Right.
spotlight.
Right.
But
Which is why it caused a
Right.
fucking fire.
Right.
know.
It was so hot.
But it was bad
Also, the
before
museum
that
was
guy.
so hot because
Yeah.
of the lights.
It
Yes.
was.
It was
yeah.
like 85 degrees.
yeah,
in
Right.
yeah. Also, we had a lighting guy do all the lighting for this thing, and he was like
Whoops.
a theater guy. You won't. We had like a theater guy doing the lighting, and he was like, the problem was that when he did the lighting, the pictures that people were taking in the space didn't look good on Instagram.
Oh,
and
we opened with his lighting.
I know.
I forgot.
That's right. So we were open for a few days, and we had we're like, if the pictures on Instagram don't look good, then this whole concept doesn't work, because that's kind of the point. So what we did was found this lighting guy who probably does lighting for like, I don't know, nightclubs, like the worst guy in the world.
His lighting was
But he
awful.
liked Adderall and he was fast. So he like lit the whole place up.
It was also bad.
He was I mean, I can't remember all the things that were wrong with him. It was like, dude, like he was just cracked out. Like he was like a drug addict, I think. And he was just like going crazy with the lights. He wanted to stay there all night. We're like, we have to sleep.
Oh yeah,
dude.
he wanted to stay.
Yeah, he's like, give me the keys. I'll stay here all night. We're like, bro, you need
He
to
was
chill.
actually on meth.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my god, that's scary.
But
so the place is now open and people are like actually coming in. I remember like people were like lining up with their tickets, like ready to come in.
Yeah, I mean, we were getting emails that are like, I went to the Manhattan location because it was
Oh
on
my
the ticket.
god.
But I mean, I would say overall, people came.
Yes.
And they were like, they didn't see the seams.
Right.
Yeah.
Really. And I think the fact that we gave everyone unlimited pizza pretty much instead of the
Yeah.
one slice, like people were like, I'm full. And then they were
Yeah.
happy enough.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think that was key because the actual like rooms and galleries themselves were interesting.
yeah,
But
it was cool.
they were
like,
cool.
Scott's Pizza Box.
Scott, dude.
Remember
Yeah.
Scott's Pizza Tour? Shout out Scott's
Shout out
Pizza Tour.
Scott, dude. He does pizza
Scott-
tours around New York.
Scott has the
biggest pizza box collection.
largest pizza box collection,
Yeah.
Guinness World Record holder.
Yeah.
We had a gallery of
Yeah.
pizza boxes from all around the world. Like it was a
Yeah.
cool
I mean, we also
exhibit.
had a
Right.
separate room where he did a virtual
history
of
that
pizza
thing was awesome.
that we filmed.
That thing was awesome.
I'll say this.
There
about
was
the Pizza
some
Museum.
cool shit.
Yes, like we had good artists. Like it.
Andrew WK's guitar.
Andrew, yeah, exactly. Like it could be. I could see how people would think it's a gimmick, but to us when we were doing it, it was really a real project.
No,
like,
it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was cool. We had
If
real artists.
Here's
like,
what I'll say: if we didn't get fucked over by that first landlord,
Yeah.
and we
It would've
had the
been
2
way
months,
cooler.
it would have been great.
we didn't have
Right.
the time to pull it off.
We didn't have the it was thrown together
Yeah.
not because it's our fault.
Yeah.
Right.
It was thrown together because we got
Yeah.
fucked and we wanted to make it happen and
Yeah.
we did make it happen.
Yeah.
Right.
And so instead of it being an A plus, it was a C minus.
I
Yeah.
will say
I would say
seeing what
instead of a
it
C, it was a B minus.
seeing what it was and knowing that you guys only had 9 days to do that, in that context, it's extremely impressive because you literally
Yeah.
built an entire museum and had galleries and had like pizza for
And
everyone.
all the clients were like, cool, we love it. And like
They
they
liked
were
it.
happy. Everyone was happy.
I mean, we got good press. Like
the press was like,
Except,
there was one article.
Dave Portnoy.
let's talk
Oh,
about.
no.
So,
Remember you guys tried to throw me under the bus? Like, got me with Dave, and I was like, too scared. No
so
way.
Dave
Too much
Portnoy
I
Adderall.
didn't know who he was.
of
I didn't either
Barstool.
then.
No, back then I was like,
it was
what?
early on the.
I was like, I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Yes.
matter.
So he is of Barstool Sports. He's the founder of Barstool Sports, and he has a one bite pizza review where he goes around.
we all know now. I mean,
Yeah. I'm just saying. So anyway, so that is why it made sense to bring him in to the pizza
He
museum.
came in through the press,
Right.
Our press person, and I was like, sure.
So
But
he was
he-
gonna come in, and then you guys purposefully weren't there. I feel like.
Yes, I wasn't.
Was that true?
Well, you tried to tell
I think
me.
I didn't want to meet him. I was
You
like,
told
I don't
me
care.
to. You're like, do you want to go meet this dude, Dave Portnoy? And I like looked him up, and I was like, I know this guy's gonna just roast me. So I was like, I'm not gonna do it.
Oh, because it was like he wanted to do a walkthrough.
And I was so burned out. Like I was like, I'm not. I don't have the energy to.
I wasn't trying to throw you under the bus.
No, you
I think
weren't.
I was just like, I'm tired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were all tired. And like I didn't do it not because I was like scared of Dave, but I was like any press at that point. I was like, there's no way I can like talk to somebody. And but he did give the pizza like 6 something, which is not.
I think his criticism though was like, what is this art? He was actually like,
yeah.
it's too much art.
I don't think it
Right.
was an unfair criticism.
No, he was just like, it's too much. Like, what do they think they are? The
Yeah.
MoMA? I was like, yeah.
Well,
Yep.
he also called it out where he was like, I do pizza reviews, and this isn't really a pizza restaurant.
Right.
Right.
was
You wanted
like-
it to be like an Italian. No, but
Yeah.
you wanted it to be like an Italian,
Yeah.
the history of pizza.
I think he gave us a fair shake.
Yeah.
But I remember I got mad. And
Why?
I told Marcella, because I wanted a better review.
Oh,
I was like,
I mean-
bring him in. I'll challenge him to like a shotgunning beers competition.
Oh
You would've lost.
my God.
Actually,
You
should we do one right now?
I did 2 seconds.
You can shotgun a beer in 2 seconds?
Spencer,
That's a lie.
1.9
lights.
flat. It's not going on the podcast. I'm not doing it on the podcast.
what's the big deal?
Well, I wanted to like challenge him, and then I was eventually like, whatever. I don't care anymore.
All right, let's.
So yeah, so then at this point, at some point it just like kind of is operating on its own, and it becomes smooth. Like it's open,
Right.
the
The
pizza's
ravers-
there,
the
the ravers
ravers.
are
The ravers were
running
running
it.
it.
And then you guys actually thought about extending it to you. Were gonna do it in Philly, weren't you?
Oh, well,
God.
there is. So Kareem and I went to a mall.
This mall wanted it.
Do you remember that?
Where?
I think it was in Philly
Was
or
it in
Washington
Philly?
D.C.
Wasn't it was in
that sounds
DC?
familiar.
This
yeah.
mall was
Yeah.
like, bring it here, and we were like, okay.
Yeah, so this like landlord woman's kind of walking us around this mall and showing us these spaces, and Kareem and I are looking at each other like, if we do this again, it might be the end of us, dude. Like, there's just no.
Well, we were just like, is it even
way.
worth it? Like,
And
we did
after
it
this
once.
whole- we're
Yeah.
traumatized. I feel like.
And
Oh my
sadly,
God.
I thought about the reason that I wanted it. Remember when I was always like, we're going to go down in history? I was
yeah.
like, there's going to be a Wikipedia page about the
and
museum.
then we
of
thought
Pizza.
about doing the weed museum,
Oh.
which is another idea.
And then
And
I
we're like, we can't.
and then I flew to fucking Vegas
Yeah.
to have a meeting with like Caesar's Palace or something.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
talk
they
about
wanted
it.
to have it there.
Yeah.
The Museum of Pizza.
Yeah.
And it was really bad.
Why?
Because I was like, I'm going to fly there at 8 p.m. so that I don't get into any
You
trouble.
went out.
Yeah.
Dude, I landed at like 10. And then let's just say I didn't go to sleep at all that
And
night.
you went to the meeting.
And then I went to the pitch at 9 a.m.
You're
I
like,
didn't sleep.
"Oof."
I literally didn't sleep.
So you were just like
I
very
don't want to
messed
talk
up.
about what happened that night, but I did not sleep. I went to the meeting. I was like this. And they never, ever called me back. They didn't even send a follow-up
Who
email.
cares?
I
We
mean, it
don't
was
need to do it
bad.
again.
I was like Max when he was on camera.
I would have been.
They were like, so what is the
The-
thing? I was like,
The pizza museum's
I
a
would've,
one
like-
and done, dude. That's
I wouldn't have even gone. I would have been like, I'm in the hospital. I can't attend this
Yeah.
meeting.
I flew to Vegas for a meeting. I didn't get, and I
Oh
didn't
my
go to
God.
sleep.
Oops.
And you know whose fault it is?
Who?
Paul Saran,
no.
because he sent me a text.
What
Who's
did he
that?
say?
And
One
in
of
the
our
text-
investors.
and in the text-
in the
In the
thing,
text, there was a telephone number.
you called the guy.
No, never call the guy.
I called the guy.
Should we call him right now?
No, we guys.
He still got
we
that
can't
number?
talk about this.
I called the guy. His name was Hammer.
Hammer.
That's sick.
That's a cool name.
I called the guy. The guy came,
Vegas got that good.
and then I was playing. I was at the blackjack table. I felt like a fucking legend. I was at the and like I was winning, which is the best night. I'm winning, and these people from like Arkansas is like, so what do you do? And I'm like,
You're
I have a
allowed?
pizza museum. I'm in town for meetings. Like, and they're like, pizza museum. Look at this guy. He's got a pizza museum. And I'm just fucking gambling. I'm making so much money. I had like $800. Like, it was lit. It was so lit. And I just felt like this is
Oh my
amazing. So I couldn't go to
God.
sleep because I was the center of attention.
Yeah, of course.
Which-
Your favorite thing?
I had to stay.
Too good.
That's unreal. So okay, so there was no more pizza museums after that.
I think we decided to just, yeah, I mean, some people wanted to do like a weed museum. Yeah, we had
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
interest to do it. And I think we were just like,
Also, Chris bought those 2 pizza ovens. Did you sell one?
I don't think so.
We had like 2 industrial pizza ovens
To heat the pizza that the runners
Right.
were picking up.
Right, to like warm up the pizzas that were getting delivered, and I don't think they ever worked. Like he had some guy convert the
These things were also literally like 800 pounds.
right. They're huge. It's like he had the
Like,
he had an
literally.
electrician come and convert them so that they could
Because
go
it
to
was
a
the
regular
wrong
outlet.
power or something.
Yeah, the wrong power. And so like he basically broke them, and then
Oh my God.
we sold one, I think, and then one was in storage for years. And me and my buddies opened another bar, and I had 2 TaskRabbits like a year ago help me carry it into the basement of that bar, and I think it's still there. I don't think we couldn't get it out when we sold the bar, so like it was too heavy. It fit exactly the size of the basement. We couldn't. Move
Oh, God.
Did
that-
you
I
like
just-
almost kill a TaskRabbit?
it. Dude, these TaskRabbit guys were like, "We got it." I was like, "I don't know. Like, I don't think you guys do." And me and my buddy were helping these 2 guys like carry it down, and it was like going in a basement. Like if you're from New York, you know like the gates that open up, and It was the exact square size of that basement.
My
We
God.
tried to do something like, put like wood down and slide it down. Like a 2x4 would not fit it. Like we carried it, and these guys were like,
Slide
I saw
it
the
down.
fear of God in this guy's eyes.
Slide it down.
Holding this piece.
Wait, and then
It was so bad.
and then we were like, oh, we can't throw all this shit away, so we got a huge storage unit in
But
New
we had for
Jersey.
years.
Wait, I actually in my
we had
apartment.
big pizza sculptures in there.
And pizza rolls in there.
I literally
Pizza roll.
in my current apartment. I have one of the TVs you bought for the Pizza Museum.
Oh yeah.
I have the Sonos.
You do?
Yeah, I have the Sonos.
I had
too.
the projector.
Yeah.
I sold it.
Yeah, I think we like that
so
one.
Dude, the storage unit had like
How much money did we spend on storage for that dumb
I think it was
shit?
$1,000 a month, and we left it there
For
for
2
like
years? Yeah.
my God.
it was
Yeah.
just a series of failures. But
Yeah.
In the end,
You know what?
It actually was
in
a
the end,
success.
the press remains
And
positive.
at least we got this podcast.
Hey, now we have the tale to tell.
Yeah, you gotta
So
live.
dumb.
You gotta live life. My goal is
Here we
to
go.
exit with a lot of bruises and
Yeah.
scars.
So you're gonna say money, but also
No,
that.
the money doesn't matter anymore.
True. It's
It's
more
the
fun
experience.
about the story.
I'd rather have fun.
Yeah.
I would have not done that any differently. Like that was honestly.
I loved it.
I did.
I look how fun it is to talk about it.
I know.
I mean, in the moment it was stressful
Dude.
and awful, but like afterwards,
Yeah.
it's like we did it.
And think
and
about all
it's
the
just
people
funny.
that bailed on us. Like
know.
we really held it down. A couple people were like, Allie, Leah, like there was a few people that stuck around.
Sasha, shout out.
Sasha.
Shout out.
Shout out all the friends and family who were in there painting and building walls.
Yeah.
It was fun for me, but you guys were the stressed ones.
It was a nightmare.
So anyway, so since then, Kareem, you've done many things. But
Kareem got famous real fast.
Yeah, Kareem got famous.
Pivot to talent.
He's been telling us for years he was gonna get famous.
And no, not for years. It was like one day I was like, I think I'm just gonna be famous now.
You
Yeah.
did decide that, and I like rolled my eyes.
You
And it
did.
worked.
And now I'm eating my words.
You said
because-
how? I said it's not that hard.
Content.
I know.
Just figure it out. Actually, I had no idea what I was doing.
So
I
now you're
mean-
like semi-famous. I feel like some like people in New York.
Oh, destroyed. Semi-famous.
Like-
Except for when I'm on the subway with real celebrities,
True.
they're dapping me up, and then they're like, "Who's this little guy?"
Yeah.
Who's this little guy?
So do you get recognized in places other than New York?
You gotta get recognized everywhere.
I've
I
been,
mean.
yeah.
Where like
Mexico City, Egypt,
really?
Minnesota.
Oh my God. We got on
pretty
that?
much at least everywhere I go. Yeah,
Sick.
Wow, you did it.
yeah.
So talk a little bit about
TikTok is the new TV, bro.
I know. I mean,
It is.
You don't have to tell me. I know.
The internet.
So since then you're still making content, and you have two like very successful. Would you say just like the two main
Yeah.
Verticals.
Hits. I call them shows now.
Shows. Keep the meter running.
shows? Yeah.
And Subway takes.
And Subway takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, which one gets more like reach?
Keep the meter running when I do it. Bangs.
Well,
Really?
Subway takes.
It really bangs.
But Subway takes has its own Instagram.
Yeah, its own channel. Like
Yeah.
Subway
Meter
takes.
running.
Subway takes the way that I think about it is like an internet business.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't see it becoming something else. Like
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
just do 1,000 episodes of that
Yeah.
Right.
and do merch and parties and blah 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 blahs.
Yeah.
But keep the meter running. I think is just a more special format
Right.
and a more interesting format.
Right.
So it's less of like an internet show.
It's a longer format.
Yeah.
Right.
You're
that
really
lends
getting
itself to like an actual,
Yeah.
like real long
yeah.
format.
There's
series.
better storytelling, and
Right.
that show doesn't need to be short.
So
Right.
Whereas Subway Takes does need to be short.
right, we don't need to tell like the story as long as the Pizza Museum, but we've never even talked about this, so I don't really know. How did you concept that show, and then like, can you just like tell a story of what it is and like how you
Yeah.
came up with it?
So I remember the day I thought of the ideas. I was like going over the Williamsburg Bridge, sad rainy day, going back to Brooklyn.
Oh.
Awful day.
Yeah.
Me not in a good place.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like talking to the cab driver about all of the bad things that were happening.
Were you in the middle of your divorce at this point?
I think it was pre-divorce,
Oh, really? That explains it.
which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
So it was the worst day ever. And I was like, I don't know, I don't like my life. And then the guy
Are you
was
saying
like,
that for the story, or is that true?
which part?
I'm sad in life. I feel
No,
like we
that was
always
real.
got it together.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I have it together publicly.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
But then,
Cheers, brother.
but then
I
in
think
the
everyone
cab,
feels that way.
it was just like such a sad, and I'm like telling this guy.
What's
about-
in there? Don't worry about that. Yeah. All right, keep going. Sorry, I'm sorry.
And I'm like, oh, this is going wrong. This sucks, blah, blah, blah. And he's like giving me all this great advice. And then we get to my apartment in Brooklyn, and I'm like, hey, like, do you want to keep hanging out? And he's like, you're going to have to keep the meter on.
Really? He
Yeah.
asked you to hang out?
No, I asked him to hang
you
out.
asked him.
But then he was like, I'm going to have to keep the meter on. And I was like, oh, okay, I can't hang out. It's like he was going to charge me to like hang out with him.
I'm
And I
not
was
going to
like,
pay you to be my friend.
I was like, dang, that sucks. But then I got out of my car and I wrote like, keep the meter running in my notes app. Like that's it. And I was like, that's a good idea for a show. Like hang out with cab drivers.
Right.
That's all it was at that point. It wasn't about food yet.
Yeah.
And then it just sat in my pocket for like 4 years, probably, or 3 years.
Oh, it was that long ago?
Yeah. I mean, it was like during when I was not doing entertainment.
Right.
Like it was pre the pivot
Right.
to being talent and to doing creative stuff on camera.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, it's a good idea. I would have probably at that point given it to someone else.
Right.
You know what I mean? And been like just a producer.
Yeah.
Is that show even really about food, or is it more about like just people?
It's about both.
Yeah.
But it wasn't intentionally about food.
Right.
It's just like the first episode, that's what the guy said.
Like
He
He
said
was like,
what?
let's go eat.
right.
And I was like,
'Cause
okay.
some people go to like a church or
Yeah,
whatever.
but they always eat.
Right.
It's always food first.
Interesting.
That's what we love about food. It's multicultural, obviously.
And I mean, people talk about breaking bread and like it's the
Right.
best way to get to know someone.
Right.
It's so
Yeah.
intimate. You share a meal. And the first episode, the guy was like, let's get food. And I was like, okay, cool. Second episode, like, let's make sure we do something else. Like
Right.
in my head, I was like, in my mind, it was like, oh, we're going to go to like a clothing store and like
Right.
buy new outfits. And then another episode, we're going to like,
just a montage
so you had a
of
whole
you
different
dancing.
idea of what it would
no,
be.
in my head, it was like, oh, and then we'll get like, and then another episode will be like, we'll get haircuts.
Oh, but it was all food.
Yeah, and then but every or whatever, you know, just like activities.
Totally.
And then every time I did it, they would just say food. And I think
Yeah.
it's A, because it's the easiest answer.
Right.
B, because they're hungry.
Right.
Right.
And C, I think that I started leaning into it because
Yeah.
I started being like, let's go get food, because it was like a great way to get to know someone and
Right.
their culture. And
Right.
like, it's always like in the beginning
Well,
when we're
everyone eats.
shooting,
Yeah.
they're like a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
And then once we get to the restaurant, they're always
Right.
way more
They're
open.
relaxed.
Comfortable.
Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
I guess it's like kind of like the Hot Ones thing. Like
Right.
people
Yeah.
open up a little bit more when
Right.
they're eating.
True.
But so it became a food show.
Right.
And I think that that's what it is on TikTok right now. But I think that there's a version of the show that starts with food and ends with TBD.
Yeah.
And for example, I have one of the cab drivers literally WhatsApp me the other day. And his name is George. He's like, what's good, Kareem? I'm like, not much. What are you doing? He's like, I'm in Ghana. I'm like, cool. That's normal. Like, you're from Ghana. I'm like, what are you doing there? He's like, oh, I'm starting a small-scale gold mining operation.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
You're like, keep the meter running.
And I go,
Gold
what?
mining
And he goes, yeah, man. And he goes, yeah, man, find me some buyers. And I go, what?
What?
He's like, I need to find buyers for this gold.
Oh my
And then he's
God.
sending videos of him in like a village. Literally like,
Whoa.
there's like 10 dudes
I feel
there
like
like
that's
gold
its
mining.
own show.
Yeah, same.
But that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like the idea that this show has to be local or like
Right.
just stick to the food. It's
Well,
like,
the Egypt episodes are amazing. Like,
yeah, those are cool.
Yeah.
it's just sick to see it in a different context.
Yeah.
So, peek behind the curtain, and we can cut this if you want. But I feel like, or I think I know in the beginning, it truly was like people that you're getting in the cab. Is it still that way?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
None of them
That's
are cast.
so cool.
I mean, the Egypt episode was cast because it's like kind of dangerous to shoot
Yeah.
in Cairo. And I needed to like work with on the ground producers to like make sure that I wasn't gonna get arrested.
Right.
Like you can't just take out cameras in Cairo.
Right.
Like you have to get permits even if you're just shooting on the street.
Right.
So we needed to find like someone that was local and knew how to do it. And I had friends there already.
Yeah.
So this company called Cairo Scene, which is I guess like kind of like the Vice of Egypt. I've known them for a long time, and I was like, hey, I'm coming for vacation. Couldn't help myself. I was like, can we just do a one-day shoot?
Right.
And they were like, sure.
So it really is people that you're just, other than Cairo, in New York, it's people you're just getting in the car and you're like, hey, can I like just shoot this?
Every
and let's go to
episode.
your favorite restaurant?
Every
You ever get
episode
one
is
where they're like, we
yelling
don't
at
want to do it.
Yeah.
So
How many?
Yeah, exactly.
It
Yeah.
depends. Miami, yes, right away.
Really?
What percent New York of the time do you ask, do they say no?
I'd say it varies between sometimes getting really lucky and getting like the second person
Interesting.
or having to wait 3 hours.
3 hours?
So wait.
How many people is that? Like, you're taking like 10?
15,
Are you
20,
just
30.
are you just like flagging cabs and then being like, oh, I don't need a ride if you're not willing
I
to
can't
do
get
this?
into the secret sauce, but
Oh.
But one time I went to Coney Island, I went to Brighton Beach because I was like, I want to get a Russian, like an Eastern European driver.
Yeah.
And I went down there and talked to for 3 hours, and then I even went to restaurants. I was like, hey, I need a cab. Do you know any cab drivers? And everyone was like, didn't want to talk. It was like,
Because
You're
it's like a
sitting there with
mob.
like
Yeah.
2 camera guys?
everyone was like, no. Everyone was like, no. And then I just came all the way back to Manhattan and shot the show again.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's like it is hard because there's no casting
right.
at the moment. So it's like I never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Not prepared for anything.
Right.
They're not prepared.
And so sometimes are you like, okay, so what's your favorite like restaurant that you go to? And they're like, oh yeah, it's like an hour away.
But it's not even.
Yeah.
Do you ask
Yeah.
a restaurant or do you say?
No, I say, what do you want to do? We can do
Right.
anything. And then they always
Oh.
go,
Most of the time
let's
it's
eat.
restaurants.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
oh,
cool.
I thought you were making it about food now.
No, I mean, it just became that
Got
way.
it.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. Where would you go?
Yeah.
See, it is a tough question. And when
Yeah.
I ask them, they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. What do you want to do? And we do this
Right.
back and forth for a while until they're finally like, oh, I could take you to this place. I'm like, great, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes they're self-conscious. That is
Right.
like not cool
Right,
enough.
right.
Well, I would be if someone came in my cab with a camera. I'd be like,
I'd be
I have no idea. You know what I mean?
right.
I'd be like, let's go to
Where would I
Here.
take them?
Yeah. So what place?
Where would you
take
go?
people
Yeah.
to?
Food?
Yeah.
anything.
101 Wilson.
Yeah. What?
That's what we would do.
Believe it or not.
But wait, I want to choose food and then do a different one.
Like a real place.
Yeah.
See, it's so hard.
It is hard.
Where do I love eating? I mean, I go to Kiki's a lot, but it's
Kiki's
like,
is good.
Classic.
Yeah.
That's
but
octopus
no,
in the
no.
game.
You know, I'd go to Abu Kir.
Where's that?
It's in Queens on Steinway Street.
Abu Kir?
Yeah, it's this Egyptian restaurant that has the most amazing fish I've ever had in my
Really?
life,
Oh, wow.
and it tastes like the fish that I have in like Alexandria, Egypt,
Yeah.
which I've never been able to get in the U.S. And they do it. They know how to do it. and
Next
it's like
episode
this
there.
very simple place.
Yeah.
That's a good plug.
It's like it's literally a fish market,
Yeah.
like a tiny fish market the
Yeah.
size of this bar,
Hell yeah.
and they have no menu.
Wow.
What
You
is
just
it?
go there and you go, I'll take that and that.
Oh, you pick the fish.
Yeah, you're just like, I'll take that because it's all out, and
Yeah.
you just go, I'll take that and that, and it's like, it's 2 options,
Yeah.
grilled or fried.
What do you get?
Fish and chips.
I get grilled.
Grill. I would get grilled too. Julie would get fried. She's obsessed
I
with
get the
fish
fried
and chips.
calamari though.
Oh yeah.
Delish.
I like.
And
I like
dude,
grilled
this
calamari.
place is amazing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so fucking good,
All right.
and it's like it's sick.
Good.
We need to plug
That's
it.
a
What's
good
the name
answer.
again?
Abu Kir,
Abu Kir.
In Queens.
ABUQIR. Yeah.
Oh, we have the whole untold history of the Pizza Museum.
We should do a part 2 sometime though, because
Yeah, I feel like
we got more.
it runs so deep. There's so many characters involved in that story.
PTSD.
PTSD triggered.
But yeah, I appreciate you coming here and telling the story.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, bro.
Cheers.
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 Whoops.
Oops.
Whoops.
And we'll keep watching on Keep the Meter Running.
Thanks to our sponsor, Smirnoff Ice. Okay.
And happy birthday.